Hello. Just thought I'd just talk you through what the itinerary is. So, see, the topic is, so I was given the task of writing a scheme of work for the transition that would help you learn something but was different and away from the syllabus. So, I'm a keen Avengers movie fan. I have two kids and we watch a lot of the films together. And we've watched the Infinity Wars and the Endgame, and those who don't know, Thanos is someone who essentially conquers the universe, and he wants to cure famine by killing half the people. He thinks that this is the best way to make the world a happy place. Yeah, so probably Thanos should have looked into some counselling before he made these plans, but is what it is. Now, I was around in the 80s and I was a kid that would remember stats, and I just remember the population of Earth being around 4 or 5 billion, in that vicinity. I always remember planet Earth being 3, 4, 5 billion, and now it's around 8. So when I heard this half thing, I was thinking, so it'll go to 4. Hang on. Thanos is reversing time by maybe 50 years. Yeah, or 40 years from what I was thinking then. So I was thinking, surely they didn't get this wrong. They would have looked into this with all the research they've done, and there's a lot of stuff on time travel and the rest of it. It's the basic model. Now, obviously, if they had him killing more than 50% of the people, he would have clearly been wrong. But it did irk me a little bit that when you talk to, they'd interview people, celebrities, these celebrities would laugh, like, maybe Thanos has a point. No, he doesn't have a point. Man's crazy. So, and then I just couldn't let go how bad this mistake was. So, from the first lesson, we discussed the linear model, and he's making the assumption that by halving the population, he's halving T. So if T represents the age of civilization, he's reversing time by that amount. So if we take T to be 200,000, as is given to you when you just Google age of civilization, he would have reversed time by 100,000 years. Yeah. So if I take T to be 100,000, then he would have reversed time by half of that. Yeah, 50,000 years. So on. Now, because I'm trying to show that he's just wrong, I've gone for a lower side estimate. So we've gone with 20,000 years. So he's reversing time by 10,000. So really he thinks he's reversing time by 100,000 years. In fact, it's about 50. And that's not taking into account the baby boom, which happens after wars and stuff. But ignore the baby boom. He thinks he's reversing civilization by 100,000 years. Now, so that means we then can use that to help describe the model. So with a little bit of research, you soon find out, look, population is not linear, and you should realize that is exponential pretty soon. So I've asked you to look these up already, and you found the populations in 1970 and 1980. What do you notice? Hopefully you notice they're the same as they'd be at roughly half. What do you notice about the population? Sir, it's about roughly half as today. Yeah? Okay, so how far did Thanos reverse time? I don't know, 40 or 50 years, sir. Can you spot his modelling error? Oh, I believe it's because he's modelled time as a linear function when in fact it is exponential. And there's the answers to that. So that leads us into, so we've got that there, you've got an exponential curve is the curve, and that red line is an example, it's the linear line, it's a straight line. So now you should have made some notes on that and what I've just said, and you're coming closer to, you've at this point, you know, you've done some research on the age of civilization, and I ask you then to figure out or look into the 5500 rule. Now, in any population model, yeah, you've essentially got, say it's a linear model, you're saying that the population's doubling every how many years. If you think about the coronavirus now, at the start, its days to double was a thing I was keeping an eye on, was 3.5 days. Yeah, 3.5 or 5 days to double. So that's what then creates an exponential curve. Yeah, it's like compound interest. So, but what's important is the starting point. So the corona data starts at 50. Yeah, so as soon as there's 50 reported cases, then, or 50 deaths, as soon as there's 50 deaths, they start the count. So it's very important where you start from, hence this level of research. So you've got the age of civilization to help you get to that, what's our starting point. Some of you may be creationists and believe that there were two people to start with. Fine. I've asked you to research the 5500 rule, and that just simply says, oh, I Googled it a second ago. They created the 5500 rule, which suggested that a minimum population size of 50 was necessary to combat inbreeding, and a minimum of 500 was needed to reduce genetic drift. So these will all take a factor into what you use as your initial population. Yeah? Because if you imagine humans just being in one place, that's different. If you believe in evolution, then imagine creatures evolving globally and then the rise of similar types of people developing, so you get your different type of Homo sapien. Yeah, so if you look into that, it's quite interesting. So, you know, you'd have heard of Neanderthals for one. So that was one type, and then you get various other types. Anyway, I find that interesting, you may not. So that's a key point. Our P0 is a hugely key point. Yeah. And then we can get going with the modeling. So you should at that point have a lot of stuff to take down. Yeah. A fair amount of quality to then build on. Then we look at the maths biology, and that goes into the exponential function. And E. So E is the exponential function. At this point, you might just want to research what is the exponential function, what is E. Learn there we use is my overflow topic in case we've got some keen bees. Keen bees? Yeah, keen beans who motor through this. I've got some extension work in my pocket just in case. It says, look, click at that link. There's no link yet. And then your findings versus mine. Do we agree? I'm not telling you what my P0 is. I'm not telling you what my model is. I'm interested to see how close we are to what Thanos' kill figure should have been. Yeah. And then I've attached there my judging criteria. So we've got a low level, medium level, and high level of answer. And you can see there the levels to which you're expected to proceed. So then you'll write it up in a week or two and hopefully have that formula that describes what Thanos should have done his genocide on. And then you'll say what figure you would have said, look, Thanos, is my bonus still safe if I tell you the answer? Well, you should kill this percentage of population. How he doesn't get it right anyway when he's got all the power in the universe, I'll never know. But yeah, I hope that's been useful.